Good afternoon. Welcome to the Bitter Knitters podcast. It's Sunday, October 21st, 2018. My name is Jacqueline and Justin's here.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh my gosh. Good. Just so people know, my daughter's currently in dance, and guess who takes her to dance? And she doesn't get out till 12:30. So our show may or may not be a few minutes late every Sunday. For a while.
Like, dance her way to dance.
No.
That made no sense.
So, how's it going? Lots of TV?
Not too bad. Lots of TV. I don't think I watched everything, but I watched a few things. But let's go ahead. We'll talk a few news things to get started, because there are some shows that have received full season orders already.
I read one and I was a little surprised.
Which one?
Cool Kids?
Cool Kids has been picked up for full season. I mean, week one, it retained its audience from not hugely, but it did pretty well with The Last Man Standing with the Tim Allen show. So yeah, so Cool Kids on Fox is going to get a full season. CBS is giving a full season to God Friended Me, which I've still told two people I need to watch, and I haven't watched yet because it looks awful. Magnum PI and The Neighborhood.
The Neighborhood is it kind of really reminds me of one of those cheesy 90s sitcoms. It's not super smart.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. Something about it, I do like it.
I haven't watched it yet. Maybe I'll check that one out. And I doubt you've watched Magnum yet, right?
No, I wasn't really a huge Magnum in the 80s fan, so I'm not really into like detective shows, you know?
Yeah.
So, no.
So, and then, like you said, Cool Kids and Single Parents on ABC also got a full season order.
I like Single Parents. I didn't watch this week's, but I'm enjoying
Has
that.
Has it gotten better? I feel like
about the same.
Most shows I haven't gone past episode 1.
This week's Cool Kids was okay. It was kind of funny. I really liked last week's Cool Kids. I thought that was really funny. But I did notice to the site that I watch it on, I do not watch it on the Fox News channel or whatever, the Fox TV channel. It was getting pretty high ratings from the people who watch it, like 7.5 stars and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So people seem to be enjoying it.
That's good.
People on a streaming site, so it's not old people.
That's true. So, yeah, well, it's interesting that we've gotten so many full season pickups already.
Yeah, pretty early on.
Even though we have also the last couple of years, I've noticed that networks are not quite as trigger happy in terms of canceling.
Oh, remember that Meg O'Malley show had one episode and got canceled?
Yeah, but for the most part, there's exceptions, but for the most part, recently, things just haven't.
Yeah, I know they haven't been doing that. Well, because I guess now because with streaming sites and stuff, right? It's like
and a lot of the things is you also take into account like DVR numbers and streaming numbers too. So this week, CBS announced what they're going to premiere as the post Super Bowl show. Every year the network, whoever is showing the Super Bowl, will always have
let me try
a big
to guess.
show.
CBS, you said?
It's CBS, yes.
Big Bang Theory?
No.
No. Is Dr. Sean Murphy on that station?
No, that's ABC.
Oh, then I have no clue.
Okay, it's a new show called The World's Best.
I don't know that show.
It's going to be the premiere. It kind of like, I think they use like the Super Bowl to help premiere Undercover Boss, and it's similar to that. So what this is like a talent show, like America's Got Talent, hosted by James Corden. And I guess beyond the judges, which I'll announce in a couple minutes, I guess there's like a whole panel of like people sitting in the audience that are like worldwide talent makers and talent scouts.
Oh, okay.
It kind of reminds me, looking at the picture, there was a game show back in the early 2000s around the time that like Millionaire and Weakest Link was big, and it was called, oh my God, was it Winning Lines? I think it was. And even a little bit like 1 versus 100, where you have people like in these little pods all over the audience. And it reminds me a lot of that. So the judges for this are RuPaul Charles.
Okay, RuPaul.
Okay. Yeah.
We threw Charles in there. I'm like, who the hell is he talking about?
It's RuPaul. But they're using his full name here. So.
Oh, okay. Now he's becoming more famous, I guess.
Yeah. Drew Barrymore.
Okay.
And Faith Hill.
Okay. I mean, I like Drew Barrymore. I think she's a decent actress. I just don't see her as like somebody who's a talent scout or like a
a judge
advisor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, she's not the greatest actress. She's not going to win any, Oscars anytime soon.
I know. It just seems like a weird grouping of celebrities to
Yeah.
kind of like be judging this. But that's okay.
RuPaul's the hottest out of that group.
No one's going to be Faith Hilling.
No.
So I guess it'll be similar to like America's Got Talent, where there'll be acts from every single type of genre, just not just music. So it'll probably be like rejects that couldn't even make it on too.
But I mean, like, yeah. I'm just trying to think, like, is like somebody going to come out and do like a monologue? Like, that's so cringy.
Yeah. Well, it reminds me when, what was it? Star Search had the spokesperson category or whatever it was.
Well, I didn't really watch Stars.
I just remember that they had a category.
So like a person would come out and try to be like the ShamWow guy?
Something like that. I don't really know. Like I said, I was a little too bit on the young side, but I remember for a while that was an actual category.
Billy Mays here.
Billy Mays here for a Star Search.
Jeez.
Real World's coming back next year on Facebook Watch.
On Facebook. How far you fallen, Real World?
Yeah. Facebook has really tried to push their video. A couple weeks ago, I haven't watched it, but they premiered a new show with Elizabeth Olsen on it, which was actually supposed to be pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like she's a top-rated actress.
Yeah, I believe the show was originally supposed to be made for Showtime, but something along the line fell through, and Facebook is like, "We'll pick it up. We need a show."
They got enough money,
so it's on Facebook Watch, and Real World next year will also be. Which I hope it kind of goes back to basics. Not that I'm going to watch it, but for the last few years while it was on MTV, it just went ridiculous. It was like, we're doing the X Factor, we're doing Secrets, you and your boss, and Grudges, and I was like, no, just do people. People in a house,
living in a house. Yeah, we had a Canadian version. It didn't. I think it only had 2 seasons. It didn't do too well. It was like UHB1 or something. I don't even know why it was called that. But you could watch the live stream too. They had live stream cameras going on 24 hours a day. You could watch.
Oh, nice.
And then they had on Friday or Saturday nights, they do like a sex education talk show from the house where the people in the house would like ask questions and answer questions.
Oh, that's so bizarre.
I know, it's weird.
And it looks like Netflix is on like a canceling streak right now.
Oh no.
Or announcing shows ending. I
heard they got rid of Supernatural from their streaming. Well, I know that's not one of their shows.
Of the originals. They canceled Luke Cage and Iron Fist, which is 2 of their Marvel shows the last couple of weeks. I was kind of having a theory that they were going to introduce a Heroes for Hire show that would bring both of those characters in to continue those characters. But with the whole Fox deal, with the whole Disney streaming thing, like at this point, everything's so up in the air. It's really, who knows what's going to happen. So now people are speculating that this upcoming season of Daredevil, which I think premiered this week, is going to be its last. Jessica Jones and Punisher, which are premiering next year, people are assuming those are going to be the last Netflix Marvel shows. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what happens and to follow that as it's coming. They've also announced that Orange is the New Black is ending after next season.
I did see that because I saw a tweet from Brett Spiner saying that he was supposed to
Data?
Data.
Okay.
That he was supposed to be in the following season, and he's like, "Oh, sorry to disappoint fans, but the show's been canceled." So his, role in 2 years was canceled, and I was like, "Oh,
so far in advance."
The show is done. The show is done. Like, I enjoy it. I watched it, but it's definitely been done the last year or two. It's been kind of monotonous.
Well, if you get to a point where you're following like one little riot within a full season, that's probably time to.
I know I think they tried to do something different, but I just don't think it worked.
Yeah. So you get one more season, most likely premiering next year. And there's a rumor that Fuller House is ending. So like Netflix is definitely on some sort of like, let's just start canceling everything, which we haven't really seen from them yet. Which is kind of
can I say quickly about a comment I read about people talking about The Haunting on Hill House, a Netflix show?
Sure.
Somebody's like, it was so good. When's season 2? And I'm like, are you dumb? They cannot have a season 2 of that show.
Oh.
It's definitely wrapped up. There's no possibility.
Yeah, that's what you were saying last week.
So
I want to say make it an anthology, which is not a good idea.
Yes.
That's not a good idea.
Just haunt another place.
Yeah.
Another place and haunt that. There we go.
It'd be like Haunting of Mound House.
Valley House.
There we go. Seaside Cliff House.
Yes.
Just different geographical features. Probably. You could, yeah, whatever happened in Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, we can have like Wuthering Heights and Ghosts.
Yeah.
That's the title too. So creatively named.
Yeah, very good.
Did you watch The Conners this week?
I did.
Okay. I did too. What did you think of The Conners?
I mean, I thought it was about the same as Roseanne without Roseanne shouting at me.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's an episode of Roseanne without Roseanne shouting, except Crystal was there to shout for a line.
Yeah. It was okay. I was distracted by how hideous Dan has become.
Yes. And not only was it kind of the weird weight loss and weird just way he looked, he sounded different and weird too.
Yeah, and he really kind of was walking like he was like on death's door, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just thought he looked so frail. And I know weight loss is supposed to be healthier for you, but geez.
Yeah, no. Well, this is probably not what they wanted, but while watching the show, I'm like, wow, might be one of the ugliest casts on TV.
This is true. Because even, I guess, the, quote, hot one, Becky.
Who's the hot one? Oh, Becky?
I'm, quote, unquote, Becky. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was I enjoyed it. I never really liked Roseanne that much, so
Take her out of the
it did get better. I know a lot of people were upset that they killed her off with the opioid overdose, but I mean that's a real story in America and Canada right now. So, it's kind of true to life. And then people were upset that they didn't have a funeral and all that. Well, they're like doing it in the future after she's already passed away.
And they mentioned that there was a funeral. And the thing is the opioid thing didn't come out of nowhere. It was hinted at heavily last season.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
it wasn't. Yeah. Even though I will have to say, my big thought was at the end when we see Dan in the bed. I'm like, there's no way that bed can hold both Dan and Roseanne.
Especially since they're so poor, they couldn't afford a strong bed.
That's my takeaway from the episode. Was like, there's no way that bed could be big enough for both of them.
Well, if she died in bed, my thing about this is so grim. Whenever I think about this, when people die in bed, like when you die, stuff comes out of your body.
Oh no!
So I'm always like, when I see somebody, like I'm like in the same bed, like I would like throw the bed out.
Oh yeah, I would if that were to happen to me.
Flip the mattress, I guess.
I think I would need to get a new bed. I don't think I could sleep in the same bed. And they did comment that at the beginning of the episode, he's been sleeping on the couch. He couldn't.
Yeah, that's understandable because that's like, really weird and strange, I'm sure.
Yeah. But
I enjoyed it. I saw comments saying how there was like nobody was crying, but I saw them tearing up.
They were tearing, especially because
I liked the Jackie stuff. I thought the Jackie stuff was really powerful, and it brought me to a little bit of teary-eyed.
Jackie, Dan, and Darlene were the three that I think were the most emotional in their performances, and you can tell that there were several times each of them were actually on the verge.
Yeah, I thought it was well done.
And it did. I mean, that didn't take place immediately after her death, too.
No.
It's been a few days and been a little while.
I think a couple weeks or something.
And we got DJ's wife is on break from her tour of duty in Afghanistan.
It's not the same DJ's wife as last season, by the way.
Yeah, they recast her, but she was only on like FaceTime for like a minute last. It was
the actress from the Mindy Project that I loved. And now she's gone. I liked her much better than this other. The other girl was fine. I just thought she wasn't a great actress.
No, well, that kind of goes well with like most of the people on the show.
True. I mean, she is married to DJ. Not a great actor.
No.
I liked Dan and the little grandson. Stuff. I thought that was a good little.
That was kind of fun. And I like at the end when
struggling with the kid's identity and the kid's sexuality, and he's a man's man and he's having a hard time with that. So I kind of like him learning from the kid and the kid learning from him at the same time.
Yeah, that's kind of that. I thought that was one of the better parts of the episode. I mean, it wasn't bad. It definitely was very similar to what was followed. I'm glad that we did get like a shout out to Crystal, and Crystal was there, that the grandmother was there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I liked the I can't remember what she said. She's like, "You're like 95 and you're going to outlive all of us."
Like, yeah, you're gonna outlive me, and then when you die, you'll need a robot to bury you or something like that.
Yeah.
And I did laugh a couple times. I also laughed at there was a boobs joke with Darlene and Becky. I thought was kind of funny.
Oh yeah, she's like, "Oh, when your boobs grew," and she's like, "Some of us got boobs or something."
At least I got them. Yeah, something like that. Did you see who they're casting in an episode as Jackie's new love interest?
No, let me think.
Matthew. Oh, sorry.
Matthew Perry?
No.
Matthew Broderick?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be.
Are they like similar ages? He looks much older now, so maybe.
Yeah, I think they might be. I don't think they're that far off. But yeah, he's gonna be.
Does he have a pet horse?
But I will say,
Sarah Jessica Parker.
I did not. Sideburn. I did not recognize Mary Steenburgen until I saw her name in the credits.
I recognized her straight off because she was in The Last Man on Earth.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, I thought she did a decent little. It was a small part, but I thought she did decent with it. She's a good actress. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I think we'll probably see a lot of that of celebrities coming in.
She might become maybe Dan's future love interest.
I thought that was kind of interesting. I actually felt like they had a little bit of chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I thought that was kind of interesting. So I don't know if she's going to be in more. Who else is? Apparently David's coming back, and
his show's getting canceled. So.
Yeah. And who is his current girlfriend or person he's seeing? I think is Juliette Lewis.
Oh, gross.
Who I'm actually surprised hasn't popped up on Roseanne before, because I feel like she could be like.
They find the ugliest people and put them on the show. Like really, David would be the best looking person to, other than Mark, that passed away.
Yeah.
Be probably the best looking person to ever been on the show. He's not that good looking.
So the current cast, who's the most attractive person on this current cast?
The little boy. The little boy. Or
maybe DJ's wife.
DJ's kid is cute. Yeah, DJ's wife is cute. Yeah, I mean they're not attractive cast. Emma Kenny, I know you guys don't think she's cute, but I think she's okay looking.
She's okay. She's okay.
She's got big boobs, though. All I could just stare at her boobs every time I see her.
She was one of those that, like, as soon as the original Roseanne story broke, like, she was on the verge of quitting.
She was the first one. She tweeted, I'm on the phone with my manager to get me out of this show right now. So, and it's nice. And as much as I disliked what happened, I never really liked Roseanne. I don't like her politics. I did like that she kind of didn't fight them going on to a different show without her, so that the cast and crew could continue to get paychecks.
Yeah.
I know she's bitter and she said some stuff afterwards, but she didn't fight it. And we got to give her some credit for that.
Yeah. Well, what I think is interesting is I feel like the show kind of had to happen because they're all going to get paid regardless. Yeah. So it was kind of a waste of money for ABC to not let this show happen.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So it was kind of interesting too.
How were the numbers? Did people watch or?
The numbers for the premiere were actually on par with the finale of last season.
Okay.
So, I mean,
people tuned in at least out of curiosity.
People did tune in. It wasn't anywhere near the large numbers that they had for the premiere, but I feel like that's actually to get similar numbers as the finale. I actually think is
without the name actress. Without the name actress. So we'll see if next week.
But like you said, I feel like the lack of her could be a selling point to some people.
It was for me, honestly. Like I said, she was like the one thing that really turned me off the show most of the time.
Yeah. So last year, speaking of ABC, we had the Great American Baking Show. They attempted another season. It was going to be a season without Mary Berry. Paul Hollywood was coming in and judging it along with Johnny Uzzini. But then they pulled it after one episode because Johnny Uzzini had some complaints put against him, part of the Me Too movement. Yeah. And so the show never aired. We got one little clip that was like, "Oh, this lady's the winner." And it was like, that was kind of.
It's sad for the people that participated, especially the lady that won.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Was there a prize on that, or is it like the British one where you don't win anything?
That's a good question.
Because if it does, I know when I was on my game show, if my episode didn't air, I would not have gotten paid.
You don't get that, yeah. And that's common with the game shows here and the shows here. That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure, but I do know I did read an interview with her one time, and she's like, I was hoping to kind of use the show to kind of propel myself into doing something or whatever.
And now baking or blogging or something, a show on Food Network or something.
And even do it to start a business, like a baking business. Not even necessarily in the show business.
In your town, a cookbook, anything. Yeah, there's so many things. Like blogging, like I said, blogging, right?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of things, and then she was only in this one episode that aired, and that was pretty much it. So it was kind of. I felt bad for everyone involved.
Yeah,
but they are bringing it back for the holidays again. It's another holiday edition, but they are bringing Great American Baking Show. It's going to premiere on December 6th. And so just a few weeks from now. And the judges for the first couple seasons were Nia Vardalos and Ian Gomez.
Oh, right. But they broke up.
But they broke up. And last year they're like, oh, they're doing their own business or their own shows. But yeah, since then they did break up. And so last year it was Anthony Spice Adams and Ayesha Curry.
Okay, I know who Ayesha Curry is, but I don't know who that other person is.
I didn't know either, and I still don't.
People with spicy names, Spice and Curry?
Yeah, that was kind of what they
next
did.
They're gonna have like Ginger Spice and
close.
Oh, Baby Spice.
It's Baby Spice.
I did hear that. That must have been why Ginger Spice was in my head.
Yeah. So Ayesha's doing another show for ABC.
I hate her. You know how much I hate the Curry family.
Yeah, she was okay as the one episode as the host though. It's a like a family bake-off type show and a family cooking show, and so she's filming that. So according to this, the first thing I read, I didn't see any mention of Anthony Spice Adams, but it looks like he'll be back with the new co-host, Baby Spice, Emma Bunton. So lots of spices going on.
I don't know if she's ever done any presenting in the UK. I wonder how she'll be. She's got a nice personality. She seems sweet. I don't think she's going to come out as a total bitch and be mean to people.
She was one of the judges on my favorite guilty pleasure of summer 2017 boy band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I liked her on it. I liked her quite a bit. She was a good presence. So I feel like this is going to be a good move. You get another English accent on the show, which is always a good thing. Makes it feel a little bit more like I'm watching the British show.
Classy.
Yeah.
You know, like there's like a little more like credit, I guess. Street cred.
And then Paul Hollywood is coming back. Even though he
I like Paul Hollywood.
Paul's fun. Yeah, Paul's fun. He's no Mary Berry, but he's good.
I want to get a Hollywood handshake.
Better than a Hollywood
I didn't know I did that in a Southern accent. Since it would be like, I'd love a Hollywood handshake.
Well, maybe on this version, they'll be Southern. So Paul Hollywood's coming back. And obviously
maybe he'll find a new wife.
Well, probably not with his new judge, with a Sherry Yard. Well, even though they're probably not far off in age. Sherry Yard, I think I've seen a few times judging on like Food Network shows, that kind of thing. And she's a James Beard winning pastry chef.
Oh, okay.
So she should fit well on that.
She's got the credentials, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, again, no Mary Berry, but Paul Hollywood's good. Sherry should be good. So yeah,
Sherry Berry's old. She can't do like 80 shows a year anymore.
No, but she's awesome. And it's also being paired again with the Great American Christmas Light Fight, which has these families spending like millions of dollars, like just spraying gaudy, tacky Christmas decorations on their house. And they all have sob stories.
Sob stories? Oh, go away.
Can't
you just love Christmas?
Some people do, and that's kind of a sob story for us because it's sad.
The people that are like 17 Fridays until Christmas Day, and
it's sad. Well, it's even more sad when you think about the fact that they're probably filming the show in the summer.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Because it airs, yeah. So probably right around.
Oh my God! If you're their neighbor and you're like, I want to kill myself.
Yeah. So watching this, they've got like Santa out, and I was like, dude, this is probably filmed in August.
Jeez.
It's kind of sad.
That is.
But the winner does get 50,000, so that's a good.
Probably doesn't even pay your electricity bill.
Probably not. Probably not. Let's go ahead and talk about a couple other shows. We did talk about The Conners, which was on my list. I know we talked about Survivor last week. I just want to talk about Survivor again for a few more minutes because I'm enjoying the season so far.
It's good.
Yeah, it's really good. I hated the theme, David versus Goliath. Again, I had no idea that's what the theme was. But David versus Goliath, lame theme, but it's turning up to be a pretty good year with some pretty good contestants.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting contestants.
Yeah, so we started off with the two tribes, David tribe, Goliath tribe, coming to Jeff Probst. And right away, B, I always want to call her Bi, but I guess her name is B, from the David tribe, who re-injured her leg last week in a challenge.
Yeah, she sprained her ligament in her knee.
Yeah, and she's an athlete, so she knows that if she hurt it even further, it could possibly
end her career. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she announced to everybody that she was leaving. I kind of feel that everybody knew that coming in. They just wanted to like make it dramatic that way.
Yeah.
The other thing is, what's interesting is this isn't an instance where they pulled her. She pretty much pulled herself. Yeah. So I even think it was referred to as a quitting. But I feel like this is a slight different quit than what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, she wasn't quitting because it's raining too much.
No, and I understand that, like, if that's what her career and what her life is.
Yeah, that's her livelihood, and she's trying to get to the top of her game. I'm sure she's trying to, get to a Ronda Rousey kind of name recognition, and you don't want to injure yourself to the point that your career is over.
Yeah, so I hate quitters, but I can almost understand this one. I thought that was okay.
No, and I don't think that's really quitting either. Not when you're injured. No.
Yeah, and I feel like though it kind of put her tribe in a bad position because they're down one extra person.
Yeah.
But at that moment, drop your buffs. It's time for a switch, which we all knew was coming after 3 episodes.
Yeah, we saw it in the preview next week. Next week, yeah.
And they did what they like to do, where they like to create 3 tribes.
Yeah.
So now we have to.
I did thought that was better than just the 2 tribes.
I agree. I think it's a little more interesting that way, even though now we have to learn actual tribe names. I don't know. Maybe there's a
Tivalu or Tuvalu or I don't know.
I couldn't even tell you what the other 2 were.
Like, so you had like Fred, Bob, and Harry. Like, come on, just give us some normal names, Jeff.
Yeah, the Bob tribe.
They're probably not even real words in that country that they're in,
especially because they've been in that country for 20 years now.
They've used all the words.
Exactly. There's no more words in this language. And so what kind of sucks though is on all 3 tribes you had a Goliath majority. You had 3 Goliath to 2 Davids on each of the 3 tribes, which kind of stinks for the David. It automatically puts them in the
one tribe they would have had a tie, but they sent the extra person off to Exile Island.
Yeah, they had one extra person who had no buff, I think, in their
So what would happen if he hadn't quit?
I think that's a good question, because I did see somebody ask Jeff, like, was this moved up a week? He's like, no, it was always going to be this way. They just had to, I think, readjust, and they pulled out a buff. Now, I don't know if they would have sent 2 people to exile, or if one tribe would have just had 6 people and the other 2 would have had 5. That seemed kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
They said that that be quitting did not change the at all.
Interesting.
I think it's kind of interesting. And so Carl on the David tribe was the one with no buff, so he got to go to Exile Island. And when he was on Exile Island, he had to start finding all these coconuts, and he had to look
in that water. He's literally in the ocean with the tide coming in or going out, and the waves, and there's coral, and
coral, and he had to find
well, remember we saw on that show Castaway, coral can grow inside your body.
Yes,
which means I'm never going in the ocean.
No, which is like what happened with Chriselle, which you had to leave.
Yes, I'm never going in the ocean.
No, that's scary. And then he got a hint about like something being swept out, and he needed to find an advantage. So he found the sewn up.
It was in a coconut,
that was sewn up.
Well, I always wonder, like, you always see them getting an idol out of a coconut that's not sewn up, and I'm like, how'd they get it in there?
This one we can clearly tell what they did.
Yeah.
It was like as if I was a surgeon and had to sew it up.
Oh yeah.
It was bad.
You were Dr. Sean Murphy doing brain surgery? That would be our results.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, Dr. Glassman. You're stuck seeing your anime-eyed daughter forever. So anyway, in the coconut that was sewn up, Carl got a advantage, which we've never seen on the show.
No, I thought it was a good one.
It's interesting. It's a good one if you have the information of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So when he goes to vote, he has to. It's like an idol nullifier.
Yeah, like an idol killer. So anybody who has their secret idol, does it work on somebody who won immunity?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, because then he would know. So what it has to do, you have to guess. You have to guess A, that an idol is going to be played at that tribal.
And if they're playing it for themselves or they're playing for their buddy.
Who it's played for, exactly. So you'd be like, okay, I'm going to play my nullifier on.
He can't tell anybody about that.
No.
Like if he's not smart, like don't tell anybody about that, because anybody who knows about that, they're never going to tell you who's going to play the idol. You know what I mean? Like.
Exactly.
And I would get rid of him right away. There's no power in that.
No, he needs to keep that to himself.
Because if you can't go and say, "Oh, I have this," because I'd be like, vote him out immediately. And right?
Yes. And I like that they introduced something powerful like that, yet it's got its limitations.
Yeah.
Because he needs to, because when they've had like the super duper Tyler Perry idol and all this garbage, they can just play it and like be done with it. And in this case, it has power, lots of power, but he has to have that knowledge and has to know what's going on. So he
needs to play a social game really well. And he's a sneaky guy too. So I could see him. He's the one who looked in the pants pocket, right?
No,
isn't that him?
No, that was Jeremy who went home already.
That's right. Well, we'll see. Maybe he needs to start hiding in bushes like Sandra.
Yes.
You know, because if you're not smart, it's going to blow up in your face like a lot of idol or Survivor things blow up in people's faces.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
So and then of course he gets to join the team that loses the immunity challenge after they vote someone out. And so the tribe, though, I felt like that one tribe was so not up to par with others, the one that has Mike on it and Natalie on it, and that seemed like the team that should lose every single physical challenge.
Yeah,
but they came in second, I believe.
I thought the team that has Hot Cop and Slamtown and Christian is a good team, because you have like 4 super strong people, men and women, and then you have Christian, who's not horrible at challenges, but he's super good at your puzzles.
And Gabby too.
Yeah.
I think that while we have the 3 tribes, I don't think that tribe's going to council. I don't think they're going to try.
That's my favorite tribe right now, even though it's got Slamtown on it.
I do like when Christian's always like, so can you tell me more about the Slamtown? Slamtown. And the wrestler's like, what the hell?
And, you know, as much as I don't like Gabby that much, I thought she did a great job at that challenge.
Yes.
Especially that, like, there's a puzzle where, like, people are playing blind. Right. And so you're saying like lift up and go to the right and lift. And you know what I mean? Like it's one of those that's a crazy challenge.
Those are
to
hard.
Play with your eyes.
Yes, those are hard to see. And she led them to victory, and she did awesome.
Yeah, she did good.
Yeah. And I did like when Nick from the David tribe on his tribe, who's now probably the strongest one on his tribe, when he's like, I was hoping I would find a crack from the Goliath, and I found a crack. Her name is Natalie.
Yeah. Oh, they flipped so quick on her, but she was so, like, she did not play that right. I know she thought they were going to stay strong with their alliance, the Goliath alliance, but she had no chill, and she didn't, you know?
No, not at all. Like the second they got to camp, she started doing her bossy thing again, just kept watching them. I love her. And then the third tribe is the tribe that lost the challenge.
Yeah.
And again, you have 3 Goliaths, 1 David. You had Natalia, Alec, and Cara for the Goliaths. And then you had Elizabeth, the cowboy lady.
I love Elizabeth.
I like how she's like, I'm the only cowboy on my family. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then Davey, who's, I guess, the black nerd who drives a PT Cruiser.
He has never been around white people unless they're asking about his PT Cruiser.
But he drives a PT Cruiser. It's so weird.
But how does a nerd like that, like, I mean, aren't like most nerds are white? Not all. I know. I mean, I watched enough Beauty and the Geek to know not all nerds are white. But, you know, like if you went to any kind of Dungeons and Dragons game, wouldn't like 70% be at least white or Asian, white or Asian?
Yeah, more maybe. But no, I think that's funny when he's like, I have never really talked to Caucasians. That's how we
like, Caucasians.
So and now he's with Elizabeth.
Now I got to try to force myself to be Caucasian, friends.
Well, what's interesting was that's an easy vote out. It's going to be Davey or Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And I would I don't know. You could go either way, but that's what it's going to be. But for some reason,
they lucked out with Alec.
Alec is an idiot.
Yeah, and now when Carl comes in, they have the majority.
Yeah, so Alec ended up teaming with Elizabeth and Davy to vote out Natalia, who, granted, seemed like she'd be difficult to live with.
What did they whisper? So he whispered to Elizabeth, "I'm voting out Natalia."
I think so.
Obviously. Yeah. Then he whispered to Kara, "I'm voting out Natalia," but Kara couldn't vote out Natalia, so she wrote down Davy's name so she wouldn't go against her friend, I guess.
See, here's
my question. I saw there was the Davy vote.
Here's my question. I don't know if she knew the plan.
Maybe she felt that? What did he whisper to her?
I don't know, because there was the instance when Natalia is like, are you voting me out? She's like, no. And she seemed genuine. She seemed genuine about that. And then when it turned out to be Natalia's name coming up, she seemed genuinely shocked. So I don't think she was, maybe we'll learn more next week. Yeah. I don't think she knew what was going on.
I loved how bitchy she was when she got voted. She didn't look at them. She didn't talk to them.
Oh, no.
I mean, she didn't even send them like a good job, guys, or she took her ball and stomped off.
She loved it. Not happy.
Where do I put this, Jeff?
Yes, that was awesome.
Where to stick her torch?
Now, here's the thing that you just said. Carl now joins that tribe. So now we flipped it to now have a David majority.
I can't wait to see their faces next week when they walk in with a David majority.
Yes. Oh, yeah. People will lose their...
The Goliath people are going to be so angry at Kara.
They're going to be angry. Alec. But why did Alec do that? I mean, it makes for more interesting TV, and I like that he did it, but what an idiot.
I love it too, because I don't hate Davy, so I'm okay with him, and I like Elizabeth, so I'm thrilled that they're safe right now.
And Natalia was not
she was a dumb hoe, and she got jealous. Oh, they like horses, and I'm intimidated. They both like horses.
That's right.
How much money, by the way, does Kara have? We had 25 horses growing up.
Oh my God. That was crazy. So what's interesting now, and this is kind of again, I don't know spoilers, so this is not really spoiler.
I like this theory.
But I have a theory that if Elizabeth, Davy, and Carl can play it right, they can now... I hate when people throw challenges, but in this case, I would not blame them. Throw the next couple.
Smart.
Strategically throw the next couple immunity challenges and get rid of Kara, get rid of Alec.
Because Alec is a somewhat physical guy. So at a merge, right? He's going to team up with his old Goliath buddies, and he can win individual immunities.
100%.
Kara, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if she'll win an individual immunity, but she's definitely going to go back to her old alliance.
Oh, 100%.
So you get rid of those two people, and come the merge... Your Goliath people or your Davy people are already up to 3 people now instead of 2 or whatever.
And that's the thing, is that the Davids were so far under going into this tribe.
Yeah, they're even. If they get rid of those 2
If they get rid of those 2, it's anyone's game.
They'll be up. Actually, they'll be up 1 if they get rid of those 2.
Which I think it would be interesting. But I can also almost see maybe Christian teaming up with Hot Cop, maybe teaming up with Slamtown, and I can almost see maybe Gab the 4. Then I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens next.
If that crew continues to win, they're going to have a really tight bond.
Yes.
Right? Because winning gives you a bond more than losing does. Losing makes you bitter, right?
And with Kara gone, that's Hot Cop's #1 ally. Yeah. And so he's going to need to find someone new to team up with.
Yeah.
So I'm in this season. I'm enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it too. I like it.
So we'll see what happens. And that was a lot longer Survivor talk than I expected it to be. I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about Horror Story, American Horror Story Apocalypse, which was on this week. And what's interesting is when the season started, we were kind of in like our current time, and then the apocalypse happens and we flash forward and we're following this bunker with these people. And then ever since couple weeks ago when we see the witches come in, it's all been told in flashback since then.
Yeah, what's happened up and how they get to that point. So we had the first episode with the witches, and they talked about how the witches came to be there and what they were doing in their present timeline. And we had Michael Langdon, who
coming to the Warlock School.
And then the next episode was the trials of Michael Langdon and his powers, and then how he came to be.
And then people not. What's that?
Oh, and then there was this episode.
Yes, yeah. So we had Cordelia and her witch coven not trusting him at all. We've had with the Warlock people, they've kind of been blindly trusting him. But after Cheyenne Jackson's character disappeared, Billy Porter's character, like, he knows something's up and he doesn't feel comfortable. So Cordelia sent him and Madison to check out the murder house from season 1. And so they buy, and I thought it was fun. And I have to say, I feel like at this point, Billy Porter is kind of the MVP. He's kind of the stand. I really like his character. Yeah. He's awesome.
He's campy and bitchy and
which is kind of what I want in a horror story character.
Yeah, absolutely.
He doesn't take himself too seriously. He's really fun. And I don't think he's been on a previous season, has he?
I don't recall him. If he was maybe in makeup that I don't recall.
Yeah. The only thing that I am familiar with him from is he originated the Kinky Boots role on Broadway. And I think he won a Tony for it, I think. And that's the only thing I really know him from. But I really
am might get an Emmy nomination this year.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying his character. So they come in and they buy that. The coven buys the house. And they come in and immediately they see ghosts. We see Dylan McDermott and Tate.
Well, they had to do their they did a spell to make sure the ghosts couldn't hide from them. Because in Murder House, they don't have to be seen if they don't want to be seen.
That's true. And this spell made it so they have to be seen. So all
saw the Infantata, remember?
Yes, that was scary. The only person we didn't see, even though she was given a shout out, was the other daughter. Addie?
Yeah, the Down syndrome. Remember, the Down syndrome daughter didn't die in Murder House.
Yes.
So that's why we didn't see her.
But neither did Jessica Lange. But we see what happens.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, yeah. So, because we see her come down, she's a ghost, and she says, "This is my house, and I run this bitch," basically.
No, she said, "This is my fucking house," which I thought was an amazing line and amazing delivery.
Yeah.
And it just shows, like, and I think I mentioned this before, just how these cable shows are just throwing F-bombs left and right now, which even a couple years ago you wouldn't see. Between Horror Story, I noticed one on The Purge this week too.
Yeah, there was.
And that they're just like throwing it left and right, and it's
just language.
Like
it.
It's 100.
Get over it.
And I like it. I feel like that line was my favorite line of the episode.
Yeah.
And so one by one, they talk with each of the main characters from Murder House, and they kind of learn the story of Michael. Apparently one day he woke up and he was like 10 years older.
Yeah, he went from being a small child to a teenage boy.
Yeah, like overnight. And it was kind of interesting to see. We saw Dylan McDermott's side of the story. We saw Jessica Lange's side. Finally, we got Connie Britton's side. And I liked the episode. I know you were kind of disappointed.
I didn't hate it. I'll say that. I just wanted it to be more scary.
Yeah,
but to me, it felt like, I guess, a homecoming episode, and everything was tidily wrapped up at the end. You know, like we had Frances McDormand's maid character, Moira, get a happy ending. We had Tate and Violet get a happy ending. We had Connie Britton and Dylan get a happy-ish ending. You know,
which I thought was good. It was a little too tidy, everything, but I thought it was good.
It was nice that Constance and her children were all together at the end happily.
And there's a little bit of fan service, but you know what? That's fine.
Did you? We even got a little, like, just like 10-second snippet of Mina Suarez as the Black Dahlia.
Oh, I saw her name in the credits.
Yeah, she's the Black Dahlia, the one that was getting her face cut by Michael Landon.
Yes. I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah.
I saw her name in the credits. And I mean, I don't think we learned about the fate of all these characters. We learned how Jessica Lange's Constance died. But other than that, in terms of Michael, I don't think the audience really learned anything new. But it kind of did confirm with Madison and Billy Porter's character that, damn, this guy is evil. That scene was crazy.
My question.
Yeah.
Because from the beginning, thought that the rubber suit man was going to be Tate. Remember? The rubber suit man was boning, what's his name? Tate.
The other Tate. Evan Peters.
Evan Peters was boning himself. I thought that's what was going to happen. But now I don't think it is. So is rubber suit man, it's Michael, or is it like a demon?
But here's the thing. Because he thought Tate.
If it's his son, I know it's not his real son, but if it's his son boning him, that's weird.
But whatever Tate's character's name is, the hairdresser guy, I can't remember. He Kai was last season in Cult. He thought it was Michael. Yeah. And Michael's like, no, it wasn't me. And so Michael claims like, it wasn't him. About? Yeah. That's but who was in that rubber suit in the bunker?
I know. We did definitely see in flashbacks Michael wearing the rubber suit.
Yes, murdering people.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That gave me a big question. I really thought about that for a while.
And then that scene when he ate the heart, this crazy cult comes. He's like, you are the devil, and we want to bring out your powers, and we're a crazy cult. And Kathy Bates' character was part of that.
Yes.
And they bring in this one girl and they take out her heart, and Michael Langdon just chomps away on his heart.
I thought that was Beth Bears at first when she first got in the car. And I'm like, what's she doing there? But it wasn't her.
It does look like her, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like evil shadow devil behind him. So
yeah, like the whole actually that scene where the shadow came up behind him reminded me of The Exorcist when the demon shadow comes up on the wall behind Reagan. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of nice because it kind of was fan service, and it kind of brought all the murder house stuff to a close. But at the same time, we now know that the characters now know that this guy is a total threat. But then we have to remember that this all takes place before what we had seen already on the show.
Yeah. Here's my question. I was thinking about this. Would the murder house ghost still be there? Would the hotel ghost still be there, even though they're gone to oblivion?
That's a good question.
Does that release the ghost? Maybe that's why Tate's running around in the suit. I don't know.
Because that's true. Because they're kind of locked into that location, whether it's the murder house or whether it's the Cortez Hotel. But what happens when those places don't exist anymore? I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah, I think too much about these stupid things.
And then where's the bent neck lady? No, sorry, wrong show.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, that's Frances McDormand. No, not Frances Conroy. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I always get them mixed up just because their names sound similar.
Well, I called her Frances McDormand too, so there you go. Frances Conroy.
Oh yeah, you did. And but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Kind of what I'm thinking is obviously they'll come back with this information, and I think that's when Cordelia will kind of scatter the witches about, including Coco and Princess Leia daughter.
Yeah, I don't know what her character's name. Oh,
because
I don't remember. It was right there. Now it was gone
because I think that was to kind of scatter them apart, to kind of hide them a little bit.
Yeah, so hide them from Michael, I'm sure. Yeah. Because remember, she said she suspected that Princess Leia's daughter could be the next Supreme.
Mm-hmm. And so that
we did see them have their little face-off before she even knew she had powers. Mm-hmm. And she was quite powerful without knowing what she was doing.
100%. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. This whole time I was expecting something to happen to Billy Porter because we knew Madison was going to survive because we saw her in the bunker.
Yeah.
In the future.
I was scared that something was going to happen to them in the murder house. I mean, it doesn't go well there for people.
No. We saw
nobody got murdered while they were there.
No. I like when that couple moves in, and the second they move in, all of a sudden, murder.
Yeah, they got killed immediately.
I think that was the rubber suit scene.
Yeah.
It was they just walked in the house. I felt bad for them. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go. I think we've only got, what was this, episode 5, 6, 7?
I think 6.
And I think are there only 10 episodes?
Oh no, you know what? I think that was 7 because I think somebody told me there's 3 episodes left.
Wow. And that's the same way with Purge too.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, I'm again, the fact that I'm still in this season of Horror Story, usually by now I've checked out.
Yeah.
That's good. It's a good sign for them.
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying it. People, you need to watch it. It's been a good season.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see the fact that after the first couple of episodes, most everything has taken place in flashback.
Yeah.
So I guess once you have the apocalypse, there's not much more you can do. And then all these...
go and face them down, right? At some point.
Yeah. What I think is interesting, though, is how it almost seems like this could have been the final season. I feel like it's...
I was going to say, is this the end or what?
No, I believe it actually has been renewed for another season, maybe another 2 seasons. But it's definitely been renewed for more. So it's not. But I feel like this could definitely work as a final season if they wanted it to.
Yeah, good.
just because they've been kind of wrapping up all Murder House. They brought back Hotel, and yeah, who knows if who else is going to pop up. So I've been enjoying it though.
Me too.
Okay, we have time for one more show. What do you want to talk about?
You just say something. I don't know. I was watching Making a Murder most of the weekend. So
how's season 2 or the continuation?
Very similar in feel. Yeah, very similar in feel. Still, outraged that Brandon Dassey is in prison. I really 100% believe he's innocent. Stephen Avery, I don't know, but I do think he had a miscarriage of justice and he deserves a new trial.
Yeah.
He could be the killer. I don't know, but I just think that stuff was planted. And just from watching it, the new lawyer who has overturned 19 wrongful convictions, by the way,
wow.
19. Wow. 19. She's found some new things that it's called a Brady violation, where the prosecution is supposed to release all information that could help a defendant defend themselves, right? She's found a couple of things so far that they didn't release. So, but I mean, they're still sitting in prison. So it makes me sad because they're like, oh, Brendan's going to get out tomorrow. And I'm like, no, he's not.
Oh, no.
Because I know he's still in prison. Right?
I have an example of a Brady violation, too. It's called A Very Brady Sequel.
Yeah, that's pretty all I've been watching. I mean, I liked Crazy Ex-Girlfriend was good again this week.
Yeah, it was another fun week. So it's Halloween, and everyone's doing their little Halloween stories. Rebecca Bunch is now out of jail, and she wakes up, and Paula's like, yeah, don't go on the internet. And so there's a local like West Covina website where people publish all these stories and comments, and there's stories about how she's the rooftop murderer and she's out and lists all these things that she does, and it brings all this anxiety to her, and she's like, I don't want to leave the house.
Yeah, she starts getting agoraphobia, which is understandable.
Oh, totally understandable. And I like she had a song about that. She's like, okay, here we go. First step out the door, back inside.
I loved that song. I thought that was so good. And I think it really kind of, even though it was a funny song and it was jokey, I think it really did kind of ring true to people who suffer that disease.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I wouldn't call myself agoraphobic, but I definitely could relate to some of that song.
Yeah.
And I thought it seemed true to it. And I really liked it. I also liked what I assume is the new theme song, much better than Master's theme song
was. Rebecca! No, it's not.
My name's Deborah. Yeah. It was catchy. It was a little more old school.
See the girl in a red dress on a bike and her hair's blowing in the wind in the sun. And I'm like, wow, Rebecca looks amazing. And
I didn't realize it wasn't her. I thought the same thing. And then they move over to her on the bench. I'm like, oh, there's Rebecca.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was cute.
It was fun. And then so we've learned previously that their house is a murder house. Like 3 years ago, this girl got murdered in the house. And so since it's Halloween, they do a little seance Devin Lee with the four main girls, Paula, Heather, Valencia, and Rebecca. And then they end up in a cemetery with Patton Oswalt, and that song was fun too.
That song was so funny. And then at the end, he's like, "Hey, didn't you kill me?"
That was good. I did like the little weird Kathy Najimy cameo. That was bizarre. Yeah. Because Rebecca was supposed to go to a Hocus Pocus graveyard screening, and Heather's like, Kathy Najimy, your favorite witch, is going to be there. And but because of her agoraphobia, she does not leave.
And Daryl spent the whole episode worried that his daughter is not going to have the best upbringing because he couldn't get her breast milk. He didn't have boobs to give her breast milk, so he spent the whole episode trying to get illegal breast milk.
And I'm glad that we didn't really have to see that. We just kind of heard it. Yeah. And we kind of saw White Josh was there babysitting while the baby was sleeping.
White Josh and Daryl broke up because he wanted nothing to do with having a baby. So I think this is the crack into him, and he's going to be around the baby, and eventually they'll
100%. 100%. And I like that they didn't use Josh much this episode.
No. And he didn't have more. Brought a costume and he took some selfies, and that was it. That was perfect.
Yeah, we didn't need a whole lot of Josh, so that was good. And yeah, I definitely think we're going to end the series with Daryl and White Josh reconciling.
Nathaniel had a little bit of a breakthrough with his daddy.
Oh, how did you feel about the death of your favorite new character, Nathaniel's?
His what? His beard? he still looks hot. He still looks hot. He still looks hot. He'll always be hot. But I did like his beard.
But I do like that they bring back all these like little throwaway lines and throwaway story things that like I forget about. Yeah. But like the person who I guess was the silent majority owner in I forgot all about that. I forgot all about them living in a murder house. But it's kind of nice how they'll bring all this back.
When they did the previously kind of thing, I'm like, why are they showing all this stuff? And I'm like, oh, it makes sense.
Yeah, there's this show and there's another. Oh, The Resident. I think those two shows, like I pay attention to the previously ons because they always, every little tiny thing they throw out there, I'm like, well, that'll come back this episode. Yeah, that'll come back. Because The Resident did the same thing this week when they had the doctor, the surgeon guy being like, you made the first cut. I covered for you first cut. Yeah. So you knew that whole thing was going to come back. And so they do a good job too. And I liked this week's Resident where the beginning took place at that music festival.
Yeah.
That was good. And then I kind of like when you do kind of
I thought that it was going to be that guy that the whole focus of that inquiry was about. I thought it was going to be like he was a bomber or something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was interesting because he was this guy that was on the ground and got trampled when there was a bomb scare or a gunshot scare, which ended up being a speaker at this outdoor music festival. And I kind of like that music frame or the story framing device where we see them in the future and they're being questioned by lawyers because obviously something happened and Dr. Badass did something. And it ended up being that this guy who they found unconscious, who's kind of a extreme sport person, extreme traveler, goes around doing all these extreme things. He ends up being in a wheelchair. But the thing is without, even though they may have been kind of last minute, kind of brash on the moment decisions, it saved his life. And that's the kind of the point they made too, was that if
he would have been dead without that.
Yeah. If Dr. Badass didn't make that decision, this guy wouldn't even be there. But we saw that.
So is it better to be disabled in a wheelchair or dead?
Or dead, yeah, 100%. I thought Dr. Badass looked really old and busted in those court in the lawyer screens. But then we saw that he's not the only badass in the family because we got Daddy Badass.
Yeah, he's like, you're gonna take this money and go the fuck away.
You're gonna go down there with my son, Dr. Badass, when he's got his coffee. You will shake his hand, and we will never see you again. Yeah, but they're definitely. Oh, go ahead.
Remember, a lot of that guy, too, I think a lot of his illness was brought on because he took all those supplements and shit.
Yes. Oh, yeah, 100%. Taking all these weird supplements. Yeah. But I also feel like they're now setting up all... So, like, later this season, like the last episode, we'll see a shot of wheelchair guy and Dr. Daddy Badass in the elevator. We'll be like, oh, yeah, remember when that happened months ago? Because that's definitely going to come back. Because Daddy Badass is like, don't ever tell my son. My son will know nothing. So obviously he'll learn about it at some point. And then the other thing that is...
Daddy, why'd you do that?
Is when Dr. Shaky Hands tore up the police report that he had to turn into. So that's going to come back and haunt him at some point.
Prostitution solicitation, yeah.
Yes, that's right. When he's like, you look kind of like Dr. Curly Hair.
Yeah, that's his tap.
The only thing I don't like right now, I don't like right now is I don't like that Dr. Pravesh is going to be doing it with
he's got a fiance, even though we rarely see her. He's got a hot fiance that he's
I think she's hotter than Mrs. Jenna Dewan Dum Dum. It was like, I don't like her character at all.
She seems too old for Dr. Pravesh. I know Dr. Pravesh is not as young as he looks, but he looks like he's like 21 and she seems like she's in her 30s. So,
well, that's I mean, yes. And the whole Resident thing throws me off anyway. I mean, because if you look at Dr. Badass, he's like 50, in his 40s, and he's only a 30-year resident. I know, granted, he was in the military in Afghanistan and all that stuff, but still, I mean. Yeah. And my brother's a resident right now. He's probably around slightly younger than Dr. Badass, but which makes him ancient.
Does your brother have like exciting life like the resident?
I don't know, but he's probably
or Dr. Sean Murphy. We need to start.
I need to find out more. And I'm like, okay, if he were on one of these shows, which one would he be? Probably not Dr. Badass.
And then ask him if he's ever drilled into somebody's head in a hallway.
and if they took supplements,
yes,
he would probably be like Dr. Okafor, who is now under Jane Leaves.
Yeah, now she's gone into ortho, so she's like doing hip replacements and shit.
But I thought I was so confused by that first scene because I thought she like, who is this lady? Like she's just like randomly like chainsawing meat. I thought it was like a thing of beef. And I'm just so confused.
Now terrified me of a hip replacement. So
yes, that was frightening. I feel like that's not what a hip replacement
is. No wonder it hurts so
but...
much and you can't recover for fucking 6 weeks.
Because you got Jane Leaves hacking at you.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's the end of the show. Thanks for listening. I guess we'll be back next week at about 1:05 with another show. And have a great week. Thanks. Bye.
Have a good one.